Okay, today's May 14th, 2020. We're the Public Works Board. Could I have a roll call, please? Tina or Kathy, whatever one is available.
I'm here, Commissioner Foster. I'm sitting with Matt in Matt's office, though. I cannot get a connection. So you'll have to bear with me.
We will give you a minute.
Leo Evans. Leo Evans.
We'll call him excused.
Mayor Foster.
Here.
Jennifer. Jennifer Hodges.
I'm present.
Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Laring.
Here.
Commissioner Mahoney.
Here.
During Commissioner Moore. She's excused. Commissioner Foster, she had another meeting.
Thank you.
Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Skolnick.
Here.
Commissioner Snyder.
Here.
And Commissioner Wilkins.
Here.
And we have a quorum. Thank you, Tina. Next, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
So moved.
We have a
Support.
motion and support. Any questions or discussions? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
And that opposed? And that motion passes. Thank you. Approval of the minutes of March 12th, 2020. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved. So support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Public comment on an agenda item. I'm going to count on you, Kathy and Tina, to let us know.
Hi, am I on?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm John Vandenbrink from Vandenbrink Dairy Farms here in Muskegon County. And I'm commenting on the agenda item of awarding the contract for alfalfa. We're a small dairy farm. We've been in Muskegon County farming for 50 years now, and we're extending it to our next generation. We're bidding this year on the alfalfa. The only bidders were us, Gulf Dairy. After the bids were in, we were tied with Dundalk Dairy on the one field that we bid on. We were told after the bidding process that it was awarded to Dundalk Dairy because we had a past due balance in the years past. When there was a past due balance, the policy was that you were awarded the contract as long as you had it paid in full before the hay was taken that year. This has changed. I'm not sure why we weren't notified beforehand. We are also asking, in addition to that, for this board to forgive our interest this year because of extreme hardship for the last several months for dairy farmers or whatever. If you could do this, we could come up with the money to pay off the balance here Monday. This would be much appreciated for us as a family farm in Muskegon County struggling to survive this crisis while we're trying to compete with the mega farms that get the rest of the alfalfa here on the wastewater. And I said we'd be much appreciated. We need this feed to feed our animals. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comment. Any other comments?
There are no other comments.
Okay, we will move on then. Items for consideration. Number 1, create an hourly public works technician and appoint current full-time to position. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved. Support. So moved.
We have a motion and support. Do we have any discussion?
Does this come in line with our union contracts without a problem?
Matt or DJ?
Matt Farrell, Public Works. This is a non-collective bargaining position, so there'll be no issue.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Can I get a roll call, please, Tina?
Commissioner Mahoney.
Me? Yes.
Mahoney,
It's one of us.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
and Chair Foster.
Yes,
Passes.
and that motion passes. Thank you. Number 2, award the bid of the gap cell construction of cell 2 and 3, the final cover project.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any questions, comments?
Gary,
Yeah,
can
I
I,
have. Go ahead.
Go ahead, I can hear you.
you know, I just curious. I see Jackson Murphy apparently didn't bid on this. Is this like a specialized kind of work?
Matt Farah, Public Works. No, they can do the work. I forget what their comment was, but I believe their schedules was too full. But I can get an exact
No,
answer.
that's fine. It's a large amount of money. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they've done this project before. They've done this similar work for us
They,
before.
they may be too busy. I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Before we vote, Kathy or Tina, can somebody mute there's a whole lot of feedback. Thank you. So I'll take, and that one would be a roll call, please, Tina.
Commissioner Skolnick,
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
and Chair Foster.
Yes, and that motion passes. Thank you. And I'd like to make one small comment before we move on. If anybody from M Live contacts you on this one, please address them to the administrator. Thank you. Number 3, reject proposals for commodity future brokerage. Could I get a motion, please?
So
So
moved.
moved. Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none. Does anybody have any questions on this one? Okay, all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Number 4, award the bid of the sale of alfalfa.
So moved. Support.
No.
We have a motion and support.
You
Any
missed,
questions or comments?
you missed one.
What'd I miss?
You missed the gas line.
Oh. Huh. Believe it or not, it's not on my cheater sheet I got from Tina.
I don't see it on mine either.
I don't see it on mine either.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Matt, go ahead.
Gas line was removed. There was a revised agenda that was sent out with gas line off.
So Tina's right and everybody else is wrong.
Oh, wow. Even I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wrong. It's not on
I'm
mine.
looking at the original. So that item was removed. Is that correct?
Correct.
That
Okay.
is correct.
I'm gonna jump in here. This is Jen. Tina,
Go
I
ahead,
have
Jen.
the accurate one. Just so everyone knows, Tina did send it out.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, so we did award the bid of the sale of alfalfa. Where were we at on that? Were we doing
We need
We
to
had a-
open for
a motion
discussion. I
and
have a
support.
comment.
Okay.
on-
So we'll open that discussion. Go ahead, Commissioner Laring.
So it might be a question for DJ. I'm not sure who awards these bids. How many bidders were there for this alfalfa?
There were two.
Four.
There was Mr. Vandenbrink and then Dindolf Dairy. Mr. Vandenbrink, I believe, just bid on one of the fields. And his bid did tie with Dindolf Dairy's.
Okay, why was that decision made to give it to Dendalt when his bid was equal, when years past that would not have come into play?
The reason that decision was made, it was because the amount of debt. One of the conditions in the bid packet is that you need to show financial responsibility. I'm not sure exactly how it's worded, but along those lines. And there are many thousands. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but Mr. Vandenbrink is in arrears, and that is why that decision was made.
So in years past, have other, may I continue, Commissioner?
Yes,
Foster?
sir. Go ahead. Go ahead, Commissioner Larry.
I've actually got a couple of them, so this might
Go
drag
ahead.
on.
The floor is
So
yours.
in years past, have you accepted bids from farmers that were in arrears?
I believe only Mr. Vandenbrink.
I think there was some other issues with Beaver Creek also, were there not?
Not that I know of, but I can look back and see.
Wasn't Beaver Creek in arrears just 2 years ago?
Not that I know of, but I will look back and see. I don't honestly know. I did not know that they were.
Okay, and my second point to this is, last year, how many bidders were there on these fields?
I would have to check, but I think that there were more.
Correct. So my point is, I guess I actually have a point to my questioning. There are multiple mega farms within our area, some in Muskegon County and some without, that are working together on this potential project that we intend to put out there. And my assertion is that awarding all of this hay to, and the bids were lower this year than they were last year, correct?
Yes.
Okay, my suspicion is these guys are all working together on another project, and they've gotten together and said, let's not bid against each other. Let's put in one bid and then split the fields up afterwards. Do you mandate that these farmers, if they bid on this project, can they go ahead and subcontract out these fields and give the hay to another farmer?
Yes, in fact, Mr. Vandenbrink has done that.
Okay, I'm not talking about Mr. Vandenbrink. I'm asking you, is that a possibility for collusion for these farmers to get a lower bid price by not bidding against each other?
I don't know. I believe that that has been done in the past, that they have submitted one bid together.
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm not quite finished yet.
Continue, Commissioner Larry.
So what I'm suggesting is, if we have one mega farmer, when there are multiple mega farmers in our area, and in the past they have bid against each other, this year they're working together on a particular project, there's definitely the opportunity for collusion between these farmers in multiple meetings. It would be a very easy decision for them to get together and cast one bid, keep the prices low, and share the fields after the fact. I suggest that this project be that we do not allow this, that we actually don't approve this, and we put these fields back out for bid.
Okay. Somebody else had
Mr.
a
Chair,
comment?
can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
I have a comment too.
Go ahead,
I
Charles.
want to see, is it possible that we could spin the rule so that the other bidder could?
Can you repeat that, Charles? You broke up.
I would like to make a motion that we suspend the rules so that the gentleman that tried to talk in public comment can speak to this item.
I would even support that myself. Can we get a
I
second?
would rather we didn't suspend the rules. I'd rather we just allow him to talk.
Okay, we're just going to allow him to talk if he's still online.
The chair has that opportunity to do.
Then we will allow that gentleman to speak.
John, again,
What I wanted to ask was the fact that spoke earlier I believe he spoke, he was willing to take his arrears by, am I correct?
Charles,
Yes. Go ahead. Yes, we will have this paid up next week or whatever there. We had a little trouble getting financing with the financial crisis. We've also gotten hay off this wastewater and have paid. Sometimes we did get a little behind, but we've always paid. And we've been doing it for 10, 12 years. We've been getting consecutively. So it's not like our first time, and it's not like we're untrustworthy, and we've always paid. And this year, obviously, it's been a disaster for the dairy livestock. We can't even sell our livestock right now. So yes, and we're asking for a special consideration or whatever, and I appreciate the board giving us time to let you know how we're working, but we will have it paid or whatever there, and that's what we've always done in the past, and it's always been permitted.
Okay. Would you be willing to put that in
Mr. Chair, I have
agreement
a
with the
comment.
county?
Hey, Commissioner Hughes, can you give Charles 1 minute?
Sure, you had, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, would he be willing to put that in writing for us?
Sure, you'll be open. I don't think the offices are open tomorrow, usually on Friday, but Monday morning we will come in and pay it. Monday.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, I would just like to make one suggestion, and that is
Yes,
that
sir.
we allow this bidder to be able to accept the one plot that he bid on, and the rest go to the current bidder that we have on the table.
Okay,
Commissioner
let's hear
Nash?
Commissioner Hughes first before we go on to that.
Yeah, I just had a couple things. One thing, I think it's extremely insulting for Commissioner Laring to accuse other people of doing what he accused him of doing. Whether they did it or not, that's not a part of our regulations or not regulations. And another thing, it's certainly much easier to have one farmer on the facility farming than to have two different farmers going back and forth. I can certainly see the advantages of that. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, I have a
May I
comment
make
to
a
that.
comment?
There I hear
So
two
if I-
people. Who are they?
John, again, there are 5 people that are there currently, and there have been for the 12 years that we've been there. So it's not just 2 of us.
Gary, I have a comment.
Go ahead, Bob.
You know, I just wanted to say, I don't know much, I don't know anything about the sale of alfalfa, but I suspect that the trucking, the moving of the alfalfa is a major expense in that moving that commodity. And Dundalk is, I think, pretty close. So I suspect they would want to buy it, but on the other hand, you know, this isn't something where you're going to get a bidder from Detroit to come over here and buy this stuff because it's too expensive to haul it that far.
Correct.
So I would recommend we don't get in some kind of a war with Dundalk either.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I do have a follow-up.
Go ahead.
comment.
Go ahead, Zach.
In the past, trucking is an issue, obviously, always, but there have been fields down in farmers down in Hamilton that have bid on this. Big one called Schaendorf. They truck up here and down there all the time. These farmers are used to hauling these commodities, and these 3 farms that we're talking about, and I don't need to mention names, but they are all within a 20-mile radius of this landfill. And then Schaendorf is probably 40 miles, and they've taken this hay before. And the problem isn't, even if Dundalk gets the entire bid for this project, what is happening is Dundalk is not the one cutting or hauling the hay. We still have multiple farmers. He sublets the fields to another farmer, and they're eliminating competitive bidding by these other farmers will still be in here, Commissioner Hughes. They'll still be in here cutting hay, and they'll still be hauling it out and still be going over our scales, but they won't be the ones that are bidding on the field. They'll be subcontracting it. And I believe the hay this year went for significantly less than last year because the multiple bidders were not on the bidding process.
Okay. Before.
Gary, I have one other comment, if I could.
Go ahead, Susie.
One reason that the bidding is less this year is because we had a lot of flooding last year, and they lost their shirts. So with the hay being flooded out, and I think that with all the water we've had this year, the price is down because they're considering that that may be an option this year too.
So I
I
do
guess
know
maybe
these
I'm not quite as,
Yeah, so all
Go
these
ahead.
farms are in desperate need of hay this year. There is a huge hay shortage right now, and they're all culling out their herds. You can't hardly buy beef cattle because every slaughterhouse is full of milk cows. They're all trying to, they don't have enough feed. Everyone needs feed.
Okay.
Mr.
Commissioner
Chair.
Nash. Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Nash. Before we go
I
back.
think we're
to your-
having a lot of discussion, and I stated a simple solution, and that is as if we had Mr. Who's the gentleman that's speaking online?
Vandenbrink.
John.
Vandenbrink. If he has, I mean, we want to support our local guys, and if he is willing to agree to make sure that his arrears is taken care of, and he's only built a bid on one of these fields, and the other 5 are going to go to Dunk anyway, why don't we just allow him to have that one field, which they both bidded on the same price? He's going to take care of his arrears. We support our local guy, and then the other person gets the other 5 fields. So it's a simple solution.
I agree with you, Commissioner Nash, but before we do anything on that, I want to ask the administrator and Matt and DJ if we can even do that since purchasing's been involved now.
DJ has a hand up. Let me him go first.
Just a couple comments. First of all, the part about bidding and being awarded the bid and then subcontracting that field, that has been done. We have allowed that in the past. And in fact, as I said, even Mr. Vandenbrink has done that. Also, just wanted to be aware that Mr. Vandenbrink tied with Dindolk on the one field, and the policy on that would be a coin toss. And then the winner of the coin toss would be, awarded the bid. I don't know if a motion could be made to award everything to Dindolk. If you were concerned about the one, then make a motion that one field will be awarded to whomever wins the coin toss.
DJ, did you do a coin toss?
No, we did not do the coin toss because I was concerned about the amount of money that was owed to us, and I didn't feel like it met the financial responsibility requirement.
And is there so that we do have a financial qualification that he did not meet, correct?
That is correct. That is why he was not allowed to. We didn't do the coin toss.
And that's because he's in the ring right now, Jay?
Yeah.
But this is something that's been going on. Am I correct?
Right.
That he won with before.
So
we haven't really followed this policy in the past.
Before we make a motion, Mr. Administrator, can you give us some guidance on how we would do this?
Yeah, in the past, we have allowed Mr. Vandenbrink, even before I was the director, to make sure he, or any farmer to pay up. So that's been allowed. DJ's correct where they added that into the language on the last bid or so, since I haven't been out there. So, I mean, I think you could make the motion like Commissioner Nash and overrule your current policy to allow him to do that, and should be fine. But you would be changing your policy. The normal thing is to do the coin flip. But I see Mr. Nash's comments, and it makes sense that we could do that.
Okay. Charles, do you want to make that motion?
I would make that a motion.
And I will support it. We have a motion and support. Any other discussion on it?
We have a question.
Go ahead.
What field are we talking about?
DJ, can you help us with that?
What field number so I can put that in motion?
Yes, if you'll hold just a minute here.
Field 19.
19, DJ?
Field 19.
I'm bringing it up here. Let's see. I'm gonna, okay, here we go. No, that's not it. If that was Mr. Vandenbrink that chimed in there that it was field 19, I'll take his word for it. In the meantime here,
Well, how about we say tentative field 19?
Sounds good.
Okay, so
Right.
we're going to take,
And we can have the official one for, yeah, that's right.
correct. So do we need a vote? We need a roll call on this because it has money in it. So Tina, would you do a roll call on this motion?
Commissioner Foster, this is the sale of alfalfa. We'd be taking in money, not spending money.
Oh, okay. In that case, everybody in favor of this, say yes.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, that passed. Now we're going to go back to the original one on the actual alfalfa. Can we get a motion on that one?
So move.
Support.
Motion and support. Do we need any other discussion?
Yeah, Gary, I just as long as DJ, I'm just curious, is this one, do you cut this once or more than once?
we usually get at least 4 cuttings, and sometimes they'll get a 5th cutting.
So these bidders will get 5 times to go out there and cut the alfalfa, correct?
Well, they'll get 4, and then sometimes they get a 5th. Just depends on the year
Okay.
and the weather conditions.
Just, I know the fields are probably all different in size, but like how many tons do you get out of one of these fields? I have absolutely no idea.
You know, that's a good question. I don't know if I've got a ton number off the top of my head, but our farm manager could get us that number easily, and I can get back with you.
You know, it could be 100, it could be 1,000, it could be 10. I don't know. It doesn't make any difference. I'm just curious. If you could send us that sometime when you get to it, fine.
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
DJ, how much per ton less was the bidding or was the hay this year than it was last year when we had competitive bidding?
This is what I vaguely recall. I think that the price per ton was about $38.
Last year.
And last year, or yes, last year.
And this year?
This year, it's in the motion there.
34.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're $4 less a ton because we only have one bidder instead of multiple bidders on these fields.
I wouldn't necessarily assume that because I haven't looked at what it has been in the past when we've had others.
I'm just talking about last year to this year. There were multiple bidders last year, one bidder this year, and we're at $4 a ton less, and we're talking thousands of tons.
That is correct when you look at this year and last year. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead, Bob.
Chairman Foster, you know,
Yes, Bob.
I don't know what's at play here, but I know this. I know that there's something going on with milk, if this is for milk cows, because the farmers can't sell it. They're dumping it in some places. There's the whole industry, the supply chain for beef and pork is all messed up. So maybe that's why it's worthless. I don't know. But I mean, when farmers are dumping milk after putting all that money and raising the cows and milking them and everything, I mean, price will go down on this commodity.
Point taken. Thank you. Okay, we didn't vote on this one yet, did we?
We did.
No.
We did or did not?
The
We voted
alfalfa
to-
job we just did.
No,
we
we
voted
didn't.
to split it.
We did
vote-
we did.
We
Split.
vote on the split.
Okay,
So-
so all in favor of going on with the sale of the alfalfa, say yes.
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 And opposed?
No. Commissioner
So we
Laird.
have 1 no and the rest yes. That motion passes. Thank you. Then we're going to move on to
Mr.
information.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to make sure that we reiterate to our local bidder that if we're going to follow policy, we're going to be following policy next year to make sure that those arrears are taken care of.
Absolutely. And I'm sure he heard you, sir. Next is informational items. I encourage you to look at them at your leisure. We'll move on to old business. Anybody have any old business?
Mr. Chair, I do have
Yes,
old
sir.
business. Mr. Vandenbrink had asked for a reduction in the interest rate that he would be charged for this year. I am asking that the county would forgive his interest on past debt and just pay the balance due without the interest.
DJ, is that feasible?
I don't know. I don't have any numbers for you off the top of my head, so I don't know how much you're forgiving or anything.
100% of his interest.
The board can certainly make that decision, but I don't have any figures for you on how much that is.
Do we have anyone that can give us those numbers?
I don't have anyone here that can get those numbers. Christine Morris is probably at home right now. She's our administrative analyst. She could easily get those numbers, but I don't have her readily available.
Is the gentleman still online? Mr. Vandenbrink, I think it is. Is he still online?
Yeah, am I, can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir. You're fine. What we wanted to ask you is how much is your bill total right now?
I don't have that number right in front of me either, but I believe it's around 100 and, I mean, it's around 47,000, maybe 48,000 that we could pay Monday.
And how much of that is interest?
I don't know for sure, whatever, the interest, it might even be a little higher with the interest. I don't have a breakdown of the interest. They don't have that.
So the 48,000 you owe is for the product?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, I think.
And we could
too.
decide that next time, couldn't we? On the interest?
Yeah.
DJ, is that possible to wait on that?
Chairman Foster, here's an important point. Whatever we do now, we're setting a precedent, and I would be really careful with that. I just because when you do this, I want to help the man just as much as anybody else, but you're going to have to help everybody then from now on.
Well,
That's true.
We're not doing anything at this point. All
No.
we were finding out is how much his interest was.
No, but if we forgive the interest, then, that we've got people that owe us a ton of money for dumping sewage. So I don't know.
Agreed. I agreed. It's a good point. So Commissioner
Mr.
Laring.
Chairman Foster?
Go ahead.
I'm with Bob. I'm a little concerned about changing policy on bids, on interest, and all that kind of thing without thinking it through, because the precedent being set is, we're willing to ignore our own rules.
Agreed. So let's go back to Commissioner Laring. Did you make a motion or was it just a recommendation?
No, it was a
It
motion.
was just a recommendation.
No,
It
it was a
wasn't
motion.
seconded.
It didn't get support.
Did it get support? I did not hear support.
No.
So it dies due to lack of support. Okay, we'll move on to new business. Do we have any new business?
Commissioner Foster,
Yes, sir.
may I speak to some old business that the board?
Yes, sir. Go
might be
ahead. Go,
interested
DJ.
in?
The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Back in July, the board voted to donate the proceeds from 2 black walnut trees to Heal with a Horse, which is a horse therapy farm that borders wastewater property. And just recently, those trees were cut and the wood was sold. And I wanted to let the board know that $900 came from the sale of those 2 trees, and that's what will be given to Heal with a Horse.
That's great news, DJ. Thank you. Do we have any other new business? Hearing none, public comment on any item. Kathy, Tina, we're going to count on you.
We're down to 22 participants, and I don't see any hands.
No hands up. Shall we give them 1 minute to wait? I think we should. 30 seconds. Any public comment from anybody on anything?
I see all the callers are muted. I don't know. Can we unmute everybody?
They can
Is that
unmute themselves. Yeah.
They have to hit *9 to unmute themselves.
Okay.
No, that's for a phone.
So we're hoping some way, shape, or form that can happen. But I think you and Don probably got to think about what you want to do.
Any public comment? You seeing any hands at all, Mark?
No, I do not.
Okay, we're going to move on to final board comments.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have one comment. I
Go
would
ahead,
like,
sir.
yeah, I would like the board to seriously consider that in consideration of the interest, we're worried about a few $1,000s in interest, and yet we're willing to turn a blind eye to potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars because we only have one bidder on this wastewater property. And I'm not making a motion here. I'm just making a comment. We are going to receive significantly less this year because we only have one bidder, and yet we're going to have all these mega farms, most of them outside of Muskegon County, still coming in here to cut hay. And yet we're going to receive less income off of this hay because we only had one bidder, and he's going to subcontract it out to these other mega farms that are in Ottawa County and one in Newaygo County. That's my comment.
Point taken. Thank you, sir. Any other board comments? I would like to say before we leave that we had some great debate on this one today, and I learned a lot about hay. So thank you. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have support?
I was muted. I wanted to make a comment.
Go ahead, John.
I concur with Commissioner Laring's proposal. I think we need to give that some thought.
Oh, I would agree. And I think in the future, we should really look at that. I do agree 100%.
Yeah, we need to establish a policy. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So we have a support for adjournment. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe, guys.